Good day, everyone. We will be the fourth representative on construction method and project management. We will be reporting general information. This chapter deals with the planning that is necessary both prior to and during the actual construction. Item which needed to be adequate planned includes: number one, the identification of specific activities of work required in the interrelationship between those items. Number two, the proper sequence of specific activities of work so as to complete the project in the optimum amount of time. Number three, the time for delivery of materials and installed equipment. Number four, the types of quantities and duration of construction plant and equipments. Number five, the classification of number of worker needed and the period of time they will be needed. Number six, amount and time of financial assistance that is needed. Ideally, a contractor should complete some of the planning prior to the bidding project, since planning will frequently reveal a number of factors which significantly affect the cost of the project. Of course, such planning in itself is costly and often very time-consuming, but the potential benefit of such planning are enormous and every effort should be made to do as much pre-planning before bidding as it is practicable. Construction activities. Most construction activities are divided into specific activities of work, each with a specific objectives and length of time to accomplish. Each activity generally has specific beginnings and ending point and may require a specific piece of equipment or specific trade classification. So kinahanglan diri dapat atong specific ang work para mas maklaro asa magsugod ang usa ka butang para magsundan sa sunod nga work. For example, kani sila. Types of scheduling: program evaluation and review technique or PERT, critical path method or CPM, Gantt chart scheduling or bar chart, time diagram method, resource scheduling, line of balance method. So those are the types of scheduling. So we're gonna focus on PERT and critical method.
Project Evaluation and Review Technique or PERT. The use of PERT began in 1958 through the joint effort of Lockheed Aircraft, the U.S. The U.S. government apprehension that the Soviet Union might gain nuclear. The Polaris missile project is a large one involving 3,000 contractors and 11 subcontractors with several thousands of work activities. The wise PERT in this large-scale project was proven successful in the shortening the length of the project completion time. PERT was developed as a result of looking for an improved method of planning and evaluating progress of a large-scale research and development program. It was designed to provide the management a periodic reporting of a current status and an outlook for the future on meeting approved plans and schedules. It answered the questions such as, is this feasible schedule? And what are the probabilities of making it? PERT is a project management technique for planning and controlling of time whereby planning, scheduling, organizing, coordinating, and controlling uncertain activities are done. Activity on arrow is used in PERT. The activity on arrow technique is a project management tool for mapping, scheduling activities such as tasks or events. Project manager uses circles referred to as nodes to represent each activity of the project. Each node has sections that denote the earliest and latest event starts time. Navy Special Project Office and consulting firm of Booz Allen and Hamilton and efforts of the U.S. government to speed up the Polaris missile project. Superiority over the U.S. early completion of the project was given top of the priority. A special operation research team was directed to formulate a new approach considering that the management concepts and methods at that time were not adequate. The concept was formulated by the research team and then called Program Evaluation and Review Technique, which is simply called PERT.
Or Program Evaluation and Review Technique. So the use of PERT began in 1958 through the joint efforts of Lockheed Aircraft, the US Navy Special Project Office, and the consulting firm of Booz, Allen and Hamilton in the efforts of the US government to speed up the Polaris missile project. So, PERT is a project management technique of planning and control of time whereby planning, scheduling, organizing, coordinating, and controlling uncertain activities are done. So, diri sa PERT, dili na siya ingon nga ang engineering or sa in the field of engineering siya una gigamit. So, gigamit siya sa mga like mga nag-serve og country like Navy, nga na aircraft. Kanang sa sulod sa usa ka PERT na siya usa ka goal mo nang gigaman siya PERT kay ang usa ka goal ibutan nato for example ang usa ka balay nga one story or ang project kay nag-worth siya og ibutan nato 45 million and gitagan sila og deadline or sila may naghatag og deadline or within 4 months mahuman nila ng kanang project. So kanang sa 4 months gaman na nila nag-PERT which is necessary jud siya para mahuman jud kana murag silbi discipline sa mga sa workers ra pod nga kanang para mahuman bitaw nila kanang within 4 months kanang balaya kanang project. And then sa usa ka PERT na siya critical path method buta na tog sa di ba sa usa ka balay magguma sila mag-scheduling sila sa reinforcing bars, roofing, painting. Pwede na siya idungan-dungan pinagi sa PERT like while reinforcing bars ka nakagibuhat nga lain or nagmasa ba ka para bot nga na nimo og semento or pwede pod while nagtaod ka atop or nag-roofing na ka gidungan pod ang schedule sa roofing ang schedule sa roofing gidunganan pod siya og schedule sa painting like para dili ra siya ma-stack up ang usa ka trabaho kanang dili ra usa ka buok ang gigama sa kanang project nga kitagaan og goal or deadline nga within 4 months mahuman ang balaya. So pwede ra siya magdungan-dungan pinagi sa PERT gitagaan siya og schedule days pila ka weeks mahuman ang kanang trabaho. Dapat kaning while nagbuhat ka ani nagmasa ka or ingana mao na siya gamit sa PERT kanang dito sila mag-base or mosunod para dili magkuan ang trabaho kanang parang dili madugay ang trabaho then masunod ra ang schedule. Excuse me. So activity on arrow or AOA. So AOA is a use in PERT activity in arrow or AOA. Technique is a project management tool for mapping and scheduling activities such as tasks or events. Project managers use circles to refer to nodes to present each activity of a project. Each node has section to denote the earliest and latest events starts times. So as we can see na ay examples of PERT na amo ang gibutang sa among diri karon sa 3.1.1 na examples of PERT. At first dili kay siya ingon nga masabtan kay especially og wala ta nagtan-aw sa usa ka schedules pero ang schedule kay naaman diri sa pikas ra pod sa the left side. So naa siya activity events from and to duration days or activity which precede or follow. Pinagyan ni kanang sama sa ako ang gingon ganina like para pwede man kanang bitaw gi-analyze na sa daan sa magamaog PERT nga engineer nga magamaog scheduling nga unsa nga pwedeng trabaho nga pwedeng magama while nagamaaning trabaho like para sama sa akong gingon akong balikon like while nag-roofing ka, nag-painting ka sa architectural, while nagtaod kag tiles, nag-walling po ka, or ingana kanang pwede bitaw madungan nga trabaho para dili may stuck ang usa ka trabaho, o kanang dili bitaw sila mag-focus ra sa kuan kana bitaw usa ka buluhaton. Kay kanang manggong nganang pamagi kay dili bitaw ma-stuck ang mga tao kanang while na igitrabaho ang usa, while nag reinforcing bars ang usa, naiusa nga nagputol og mga kabilya gidungan ra, well ingana bitaw kanang dili mo kalihok jud tanan, kanang mao jud nay gamit, kanang mao jud nay dapat sundon. Kay og dili na masunod, maglisod sila kapas sa goal nga within 4 months mahuman kanang project. Pwede siya mo extend. Then pinagi po na ning PERT, kuan po siya kanang sa budgeting, o pila po ang pwede magamit anang adlaw, like pila ka painters ang pwede magamit anang adlaw, while kanang week butatog tagaan og 3 weeks ang usa ka paint, ang mga painter nga mahuman ang paint sa tibok wall, while nag-grouping ang uban. So mao na siya ang PERT.
Activity on arrow, AOA. AOA is used in PERT. The activity on arrow technique is a project management tool for mapping and scheduling activities such as tasks or events. Project managers use circles referred to as nodes to represent each activity of a project. Each node has sections that denote the earliest and latest event starts time. So, activity. It is a specific job or task that has to be performed. Normally, time is required to complete an activity. For example, cure concrete is an activity in the above example. Event. The start or completion of an activity. It requires no time in itself and is usually indicated on the AOA diagram by a number enclosed in a circle. The event is sometimes referred to as a node. Arrow, a line drawn to represent each activity in a network, joining two events, the start and the finish of an activity. The arrow is usually designated by two numbers, one at the tail, the from event, and one at the head, the to event. To avoid confusion, the from number should always be less than the to number. Generally, the length of the arrow has no relation to the duration of activity which is represented. Dummy. It is an artificial activity, usually represented on a diagram by a dotted line to describe the proper relationship between activities. For example, activity X in figure 2-1 is a dummy activity and indicates that activity L cannot start until both I and J are completed. It is included to avoid having two different activities possess the same from two numbers. A dummy activity that does not require any time. Early start or ES. This is the earliest time an activity can start. Duration or D. The estimated time to perform an activity. For example, it is estimated that the concrete must be cured for 7 days. Early finish or EF. This is the earliest time an activity can be finished. It is equal to the early start time plus the duration of the activity. EF equals ES plus D. Late start or LS. This is the latest time an activity can be started without delaying the completion of the project. LS equals LF minus D. Late finish or LF. This is the latest time an activity can be finished without delaying the completion of the project. LF equals LS plus D. Total float or TF. This is the amount of time that an activity may be delayed without delaying the completion of the project. It is equal to the difference between the late start and the early start, or late finish and early finish. TF equals LS minus ES equals LF minus EF. In figure 2-1, the total float of activity I is 5 days. 10 to 5. Free float, or FFF. This is the time that the finish of an activity can be delayed without delaying the early start time of any following activity. FF equals ES of following activity minus EF of this activity. Critical path. This is the longest interconnected path of activities through the network. Its length determines the overall duration of the project. All activities of the critical path have 0 float times. A project may have more than one critical path. Critical activity. This is an activity on the critical path. It has 0 float time. That is, LS minus ES equals 0 and LF minus EF equals 0. Activities A, B, C, G, J, and L are critical activities and make up the critical path for the mobile home installation project shown in figure 2-1. The uses of this term and symbols are illustrated more fully in example which follow. Persons who wish more comprehensive information of this subject can find many excellent texts covering critical path networks. A few are listed at the close of this chapter. Critical Path Method, or CPM. In 1996, the Critical Path Method, which is simply called PM, was developed by J.E. Kelly of the Remington Rand Corp. And M.R. Walker of DO in an effort by the commercial industry to make advanced scheduling and cost control methods. By April 1958, CPM in application was demonstrated in a real success. CPM was designed as a tool for planning, scheduling, and control of construction work. Its emphasis was on the work or activities to be managed. The network diagram defined and focused attention on the job to be accomplished. The schedule derives the earliest and the latest times for their start and finish. CPM is a method to control cost and time. It is a statistical technique of project management in which planning, scheduling, organizing, coordination, and control of well-defined activities take place. Activity on node AON. One problem with the AOA diagram or arrow is the necessity to include dummy activities. Such activities increase the length of the tables, enlarge the graph, and take time to calculate. They also increase the complexity of the network. Another type of project network can be used called the activity on node AON diagram or the precedence diagram, which overcomes this problem. In the AON diagram, the activities are denoted by boxes, and arrows are used only to designate the interrelationships between activities. Figure 2-2 A and B illustrate the differences between the AOA and AON diagram. Figure 2-3 is the AON or the precedence diagram for the mobile home installation project. Note the absence of dummy activities and the clear precedence relationship between activities. In this figure, neither the size of the boxes nor the length of the arrows denotes a time interval. The ES, LS, EF, and LF times as well as the critical path are clearly depicted in the figure. Calculation of these values and float times is identical to that described earlier for the AOA diagram. To most users, the AON diagram is simpler to draw, is easier to explain, and presents a clearer picture of the project than the arrow diagram. If that is the case, then why describe the arrow diagram at all? The fact is, since arrow diagram was developed first, it is still widely used. Further, its use of numbers for nodes or events makes it simpler to program on the computer. Both methods have their advocates, and the beginner needs to understand both, and both will be encountered in practice. So, there sa taman guys, kay na lapas naman siya 20 minutes. So, next video na lang ang uban.